Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And we are back with another UFC event this upcoming Saturday, UFC Vegas 90. Of course, going down at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, I'm kind of getting sick of these Apex events, but I'll make up for it because guess what? We are, I think, 8 days away from UFC 300, which is going to be potentially the biggest UFC event of all time. Of course, next week we'll be doing a full coverage of that event, but as for this episode, we'll be looking at UFC Vegas 90, headlined by Brendan Allen and Chris the Action Man Curtis. Fun stuff. They're also going to be dropping our WrestleMania 40 predictions for night 1 and night 2, talk about the spectacle that's going down this weekend. I used to watch WWE all the time, but I usually just tune in for the big events, and WrestleMania is the biggest event of them all. Also going to be going over some updates that UFC EA Sports 5 made, as well as the season finale of Invincible, a new movie I just watched, our NBA and NHL check-ins, and of course, much other surprises along the way. So without ado, let's get right on into the episode as I pushed off recording this all day, so now it's late at night. But I'm honestly not too bothered by it because I don't have anything else better to do. So, of course, we kick off every episode with UFC news, but I do have one NFL announcement, okay, that, of course, went down today, actually, and that is that Stephon Diggs was traded from the Bills to the Texans, which is absolutely monumental. Texans are absolutely loaded next year, going to be a force in the AFC South and the NFL in general, but this really just shows that the Bills are kind of having a little change in the guard, if you will. Something's kind of changing. They've kind of gotten to that point where they don't want to keep placing in the divisional, the conference, or even the wild card for the playoffs. And I think moving Stephon Diggs out is a start. You can kind of bring in a new star, but honestly, it just loads up the Texans. Texans are looking at beautiful heading into next season. And I'll tell you what else is beautiful. All the new fight announcements that the UFC has made. We know about a bunch more fights that have been announced. So let's go over them. Some are big, some are small. Nonetheless, we'll be watching them all the same. First off, going down at UFC Vegas 92 on May 18th. That's right, another Apex card. We have a welterweight fight between Chaos Williams and Carlston Harris. Chaos Williams 5-2 in the UFC. This guy is so talented. I mean, he has some of the craziest knockouts. He has 2 knockouts. His first 2 fights in the UFC were both under 30 seconds, where he knocked out Abdul Razak Al Hassan and Alex Morono. Also holds wins over Matthew Semmelsberger. Miguel Baez, he's gotten a performance of the night 3 times for his knockouts. This guy is fun. As for Carlston Harris, he's coming off a crazy upset of Jeremiah Walls, where he was down 2 rounds and managed to submit him with an anaconda choke in the 3rd round. He also holds wins over Michel Pereira, the Brazilian, currently on a 7-fight win streak, coming off his quick finish of Michael Jacek at UFC 299. He's such a fun fighter, as well as a win over Impa Consagna, who won the light heavyweight division of the PFL last year. Carlston Harris is 4-1 in the UFC. I'll be excited to see who he fights next. And by the way, that one loss is to Shavkat Rakhmonov, so not too bad of a fight right here, and I'll be excited to check it out. Also, we already know this is official, but the UFC officially made official that Matthias Nicolau will be taking on Alex Perez in the main event of UFC Vegas 91. Matthias Nicolau was supposed to take on Manel Kape, but Manel Kape got injured. I think he hurt his rib or something. His main event sucks, all right? I'm absolutely disappointed, and I probably won't tune in. But nonetheless, there's the main event for you. But both guys coming off of losses, brutal losses. I mean, I think Matthias Nicolau's been knocked out his last 2 fights, and Alex Perez hasn't won since 2019. Yeah. Going down at UFC 302, June 1st in Newark, New Jersey, we have a prelim bout between Hyung Sung Park and Andre Lima. An absolutely amazing battle here. Hyung Sung 9-0 professionally, 2-0 in the UFC. His opponent, Andre Lima, he was actually the man who Igor Severo bit Igor Severino bit him about a week. Was that last week? I think that was honestly last week's event. Just wild stuff right there. 2 weeks ago that was. But Andre Lima's 8-0 professionally. Might as well run it back. You got bit by an undefeated guy before. Maybe Hyun Sung Park will chop your arm off or something. But he's fun. Hyun Sung Park's from South Korea. Andre Lima's from Brazil. Nice little fun prelim fight there. Going down on the June 8th card, which apparently is going to be at a venue. They're actually talking about Louisiana as a potential destination for a card. Of course, there's a bunch of other cities the UFC is looking at, but a welterweight fight between Charles Radke and Carlos Prates has just been announced. Charles Radke, 2-0 in the UFC, 9-3 professionally, coming off a crazy knockout of Gilbert Urbina. This guy is coming in with lots of momentum. He's notoriously he's notorious for dropping the F-bomb and not the F-U-C-K bomb in front of a live Australian crowd. So let's just say the gay community is not too fond of Charles Radke. His opponent, Carlos Prates, personal favorite of mine, 1-0 in the UFC, 18-6 professionally, is coming off a nasty knockout win over Trevin Giles. This should be a banger of a matchup and could potentially land on the main card, but this feels more like a prelim fight. Also announced for that unannounced venue event, but whatever UFC Fight Night's going down June 8th, we have a lightweight match between Thiago Moises and Ludwig Klein. This is a fun one between two unranked lightweights. Thiago Moises, 7-5 in the UFC, 18-7 professionally. Some of his biggest wins come over Alexander Hernandez, who fights in the co-main event of our event tonight, or the one that we're going to be talking about today. Also holds wins over legends Michael Johnson and Bobby Green. He's had one performance of the night, one fight of the night, but this guy is a submission expert, and he's coming off a big submission. Actually, he's coming off a TKO. Forgot about that. One of the rare TKOs in Thiago Moises' career. Ludwig Klein, 5-2 in the UFC, 21-4 professionally. Actually holds a win over Ignacio Bahamondes, who we'll be speaking about later. Fun fighters, excited for that one. A little bit of a lesser fight going down on the prelims at UFC St. Louis in St. Louis, Missouri on May 11th. We have a women's flyweight bout between JJ Aldrich and Veronica Hardy. This is pretty much a loser leaves the UFC situation, if I'm being honest. Not much to say about either of those ladies. Here's a fun one, though, for the UFC 302 prelims. Welterweight bout between Nico Price and Jeremiah Wells. Nico, hybrid prices, 7-7 in the UFC, 15-7 professionally. And look, he's got wins over Randy Brown, Tim Means, Alan Jobam, but this guy's hit or miss. And Jeremiah Wells is 4-2 in the UFC. Rarely loses. Holds wins over Walray Alves, Court McGee, Matthew Semmelsberger. He's a fun fighter. That should be a good fight. Going down on the UFC Saudi Arabia card, June 22nd, live on ABC, we have a bantamweight bout between Muin Gafurev from Tajikistan and Kyung Ho Kang from South Korea. These two, they love to strike, they love to grapple, they can do it all. That should be a fun one in front of a live Saudi Arabian crowd. I mean, that event is going to be absolutely ballistic. Another one for you at the Saudi Arabian event. Another welterweight bout between Renat Fakhretdinov, who's actually just ranked 15th, but was just bumped from the rankings just because he hasn't fought in a while. Renat Fakhretdinov is 3-0 in the UFC, 23-1 professionally. He's insane. Nicholas Dalby, his opponent, 7-4, coming off a huge win over Gabriel Bonfim, which was a crazy upset. Or actually, did he beat Muslim Slikov? I don't even know when Nicholas Dalby last fought, but I mean, these two are going to go to war. And the last fight, which has been most recently announced, going on June 8th card, whenever that will be, is a middleweight bout between Bruno Ferreira and Dustin Stolfus. Bruno Ferreira, 11-1 professionally, 2-1 in the UFC. He holds notorious knockouts of Phil Hawes and Gregory Rodriguez. Dude's a killer. And Dustin Stolfus, 2-4 in the UFC, just got a big win over, I think it was Punahele Soriano not too long ago. Actually holds a win over Joe Pyfer as well. He has so many submissions. He's like 11 or 12 submissions in his career. That should be a fun fight, clashing of styles. Lots of fights to come in the future. But that's all the new UFC news that we have for this episode. We got other stuff to talk about, and like I said, more news will come up as the months come along. Let's check in with the NBA. We haven't checked in with the NBA in a fat minute. A lot's been going on, or has it? I mean, sometimes stuff goes on, but as for the NBA, we go to the Eastern Conference. As always, we start with the East, then go to the West. And the Celtics, still the only team that have clinched a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. They're also the best team in the NBA by 7 games, by 13 games in the East. They're 60-16, 3-game win streak, 33-3 at home. The Celtics are the best team in the league this season. They're good. You know what? They got great shooters. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum is a stud. You even got Drew Holiday, Derek White out there, Al Horford. I mean, you got Luke Cornett. You got so many great players out there. this Celtics team. We'll see how they do in the playoffs, but you know what? They've had a good season. One of the better Celtics seasons of the past few years. Number 2 team is the Milwaukee Bucks, 47-29. They are on a 2-game losing streak. Cavs are currently in third with a 46-31 record. Magic in fourth on a 3-game win streak. They're 45-31, and that's a young Magic team as well. Impressive. They're doing so well. 7-3 their last 10. Knicks are in fifth on a 3-game losing streak. Heat in sixth on a 3-game win streak, 42-33. Pacers in 7th, 76ers in 8th, Bulls in 9th, Hawks are currently in 10th, and if my eyes do not deceive me, I'm pretty sure the entire play-ins are set for the Eastern Conference. I don't know why it doesn't say they're locked in yet, because Nets, who are in 11th, are 30-47, and the Hawks are 36-40. And with every team having just about 5 games left, I'm pretty sure, for the year, 5 or 6 games left. Looks like that's wraps. So Hawks and the Bulls, I guess, could potentially make it into the 7th and 8th slots, but it's looking like they'll make the play-in nonetheless. In 12th, the Raptors are on a 15-game losing streak. They're 23-53. Just utter disaster going on in the Canadian area. Sorry to see that, Raptors fans, but you won a championship 5 years ago. That has to count for something. Hornets in 13th, 18-58. I don't even know if they're going to get 20 wins on the year. 4-game losing streak. Wizards 15-62. I can guarantee they're not winning 20 games. And the Pistons actually cannot even win 20 games. They're 13-63, your worst team in the NBA. 1-9, their last. 10 abysmal stuff. But as for who could win the East, I mean, I'm pretty much cutting off the Knicks and down. I'm really feeling it's either going to be Celtics, Bucks. Cavaliers or maybe the Knicks can make a run. Magic, I don't really see it. But I think it's really going to come down to Celtics and Bucks in the conference final, and we'll just see which team is more superior. But it's kind of hard to not imagine the Celtics winning. It's not single game elimination. It's 3 7-game series to make the NBA championship. So we'll pick the Celtics to represent the East, but a lot can happen. A lot can happen in the remaining couple of weeks. I mean, pretty sure the NBA season ends next week, so this we might be doing a review year next episode. But next episode might be UFC 300. A lot of stuff going down next week. Next week could be a fun week for the podcast. Western Conference. Let's check in with them, because guess what? The best team in the I guess the Western Conference, I should say, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. 53 wins, 23 losses. And despite having the same record with the Nuggets, we did beat them the other night, so we hold a little tiebreaker over them. Nuggets are also 53-23. Both of them, the Timberwolves, on a 2-game win streak. But yeah, Timberwolves team, absolutely loving this team. Anthony Edwards for MVP. You know what? You heard it here first. Anthony Edwards for MVP. What other player is leading their team? You're not seeing anything about the Celtics despite having 60 wins. Occasionally you see something about Nikola Jokic. Yeah, he puts up good stats, but Anthony Edwards is changing the game in front of our faces. He's a Minnesota Timberwolf. Yeah, that's right. Give him MVP. Thunder close behind in third, 52-24 record. They are on a 2-game losing streak, though. Timberwolves, Nuggets, and Thunder are the only 3 teams in the West to officially clinch a playoff spot. But, in the coming days, I mean, with every game that's played from now on, a team will probably clinch. In fourth, the Clippers, 47-28. They are 5-5 their last 10, which honestly just proves you cannot overstar power teams. It's really a dynamic teams win championships. And I know you look back on certain teams and you see, look at the 12-13. There you go, oh, I say LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Well, it worked. It worked in the system. They didn't acquire all those stars. Dwayne Wade had been there. Chris Bosh had been there before LeBron, and LeBron was that final piece to help with that championship team. And actually, you had some additions after they lost to the Mavericks. I'm not trying to compare the Timberwolves to, the 12-13 Heat, but who knows? Maybe I am. In fifth, the Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving Mavericks, 45-30 record. 8-2 the last 10, ain't too bad. Suns have 45 wins, 31 losses. So do the Pelicans as well. They're in 7th, currently on a 3-game losing streak. Kings in 8th on a 2-game win streak. Lakers in 9th, 3-game win streak. Moving on to the number 10 spot is the Warriors, who on a 5-game losing streak. They're 41-34, and close behind in 11th, trying to get a play-in game, is the Houston Rockets, 38-37 record, 8-2 their last 10. They are on a 2-game losing streak, though, so that hurts. Jazz are essentially the Raptors of the West, 10-game losing streak, 29-47. They've only won 9 games on the road this year, so if you ever went to a home game and the Jazz were playing, yeah, you'd be happy for your team. Grizzlies, 26-50. They're on a little 2-game win streak, but not much they can do. Trailblazers, 20-56. They at least got to 20 wins. They just have no star power. And the Spurs, who only have Victor Wembanyama, 18 wins, 58 losses. You have 6 games. You have 6 games to get to 20 wins. I have faith in you guys. They only have 8 wins on the road this year. Oofda. Oofda, oofda, oofda. A lot of stuff is going to be going down soon. I'm excited for it, but I got to ride with my Timberwolves. With the Timberwolves, and I always bandwagoned NFL teams back in the day, but I never really bandwagoned an NBA team. I used to root for the Rockets, occasionally, but now got to root for the Timberwolves. Points per game, as we check out the stats, Luka Doncic still your top points per game scorer. Him, Giannis, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are the only players in the 30-plus points category. Domantas Sabonis dominating the rebounds per game still with 13.7. He was actually I think he had 50-plus, maybe even 60 double-doubles straight, which is absolutely incredible. Assists per game, Tyrese Haliburton of the Pacers, actually former King, is oddly the leader by a lot, 11 assists per game, which is crazy. Next closest is Luka with 9.8, just impressive though, how good he is at passing. Best field goal percentage by 6% is Daniel Gafford, only player in the 70% category with 71.3%. Of course, the top 5 players are all centers. All they do is throw in little hooks here and there. 3-pointers made. Stephen Curry ran away with it again this year, 332. Next closest was Luka Doncic, who was 73 points behind at 262. Good job to Curry as his years start to wane down. Grayson Allen, best 3-point shooting percentage in the league with 46.9%. Mike Conley of the Timberwolves in the 5th, 43.8%, not too bad. Victor Wembanyama is now up to 3.5 blocks per game. Yeah, give him Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Steals per game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and De'Aaron Fox kind of flip-flop every now and then, but it's coming down. It is coming down to the end of the year. And honestly, who is the NBA MVP leader heading into the final few games? I mean, I don't really know who the top player is. The NBA does have a Kia MVP ladder. This was posted on March. Whoa, when did they last update this? This was updated on March 9th. So just about a month ago, they had Nikola Jokic at 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 2, Giannis at 3, Jason Tatum at 4, Luka at 5. They didn't even have Anthony Edwards on this list. Are you absolutely kidding me? Why is Kevin Durant at 9th? Why is Kawhi Leonard at 7th? Yeah, we're not listening to whatever the NBA has to say. We know who our real MVP is, and that's Anthony Edwards. Love ya. Thank ya. We'll catch you next time. For the NBA talk, that is. We'll be back. I'm sure I'll do a little recap. I am trying to get some guests on to talk about the end of the NHL season. But as for NBA, I don't really know too many experts. I know a couple of my buddies enjoy NBA, but you have to kind of think about who will be a good podcast host or a guest when you're doing stuff. As I mentioned, NHL, let's check in as we look at the leaders of the NHL season. Has, only a couple more days left. I think every team has about 9, 8, or 10 games remaining, but as we check out the conference, let's start off with the East, as we always do. New York Rangers, 106 points, are the best team in the Eastern Conference and in the league. They have obviously clinched a playoff spot. They're just so dominant. 8-2 the last 10, 51 wins, only 25 losses in total. By the way, they've only been to overtime. How many times have they been to overtime, actually? I can't even see that statistic. They've only lost 4 times in overtime. I should tell you that. They've only lost 4 times in overtime, which is pretty impressive. Bruins in second. They have 103 points, 44 wins. They have 32 losses in total. Hurricanes in third, 101 points. Florida Panthers in fourth, 101 points. Those 4 teams have all clinched playoff spots. Actually, best point differential belongs to the Florida Panthers, plus 59. Not too shabby. Bruins and Hurricanes both on 2-game win streaks. Maple Leafs are in 5th with 95 points. Lightning in 6th with 91. Flyers in 7th with 83, and the Capitals in 8th with 82. Red Wings actually are in 9th with 82 points as well. Checking out the bottom of the barrel, the Eastern Conference way better than the Western Conference this year. The worst team in the Eastern Conference is the Columbus Blue Jackets with 62 points. That team is better than the bottom 3 teams in the Western Conference. Biggest win streak in the East looks just to be about 2 games for just about every team. Also, as I look at this, and as we check out the wild card, Maple Leafs, they're not officially locked into their spot in the Atlantic, but they're probably going to get it. Same goes for the Flyers. But hot on their tails, Tampa Bay Lightning are at 91 points, looking to catch up to the Maple Leafs. I don't know. It's doable. It's doable. They're only one win behind them, but like I said, it all goes by points in the NBA. As for the Capitals, 1 point behind the Flyers, 82 points. Same with the Red Wings. It's kind of heating up. Don't even forget about the New York Islanders. They got 81 points. Penguins have 79. Sabres at 77. You'd be surprised what could happen as the season winds to an end. My prediction, I don't even know. I'll probably ride with the Rangers. I don't really mind the Rangers. I don't know what NHL teams I'm supposed to root for, which ones I'm not supposed to root for personally. I don't know too much about the hockey, but that's what I think. Let's move on to the West as we check in with the Dallas Stars, who have 105 points. That's right, best team in the West, second best team in the league. 48 wins, 19 losses in regular period, 9 in OT, 8-game win streak. 8-game win streak. Incredible stuff from the Dallas Stars. They've skyrocketed to the top. We have to nerf Dallas. Honestly, the Cowboys are good. I don't even know any other teams. I guess we don't have to nerf Dallas. Good for the Dallas Stars. Canucks are in second, 102 points. Avalanche in third with 100 points. All 3 of those teams have clinched playoff spots. Winnipeg Jets in fourth. They have 96 points. Edmonton Oilers in fifth with 95. Vegas Golden Knights, 3-game win streak. They're in sixth. Predators in seventh with 90. They're on a 3-game losing streak, though. Oofta. Kings are in eighth. And, those 2 teams chasing, St. Louis Blues and the Minnesota Wild, 81 points. We got to 80 points this year. That's not too bad. I don't know if we could get to 90, but you know what? I still offer my best hope for the Minnesota Wild. Bottom of the pack, San Jose Sharks, only 17 wins, 49 regular period losses, 8 in overtime or the shootout. They only have 42 points. I just can't believe it. Those have the worst point differential, minus negative 133. You're kidding. You're absolutely kidding. They've only won 1 game in their last 10 games. Ugh. Blackhawks are no better. 22 wins, 48 regular period losses, 5 in OT, 49 points on the year, minus 96 point differential. Now, I won't lie. They are 5-5 in their last 10. I know that's got to count for something. Anaheim Ducks, also very bad. 54 points, 25 wins, 25, 47, and 4. That's their record. Minus 88 point differential. It's rough. It's rough at the bottom of the pack. But hey, you know what? It had to be some teams, and unfortunately, it had to be you, Sharks, Ducks, and Blackhawks. Checking in with the wild card situation, Jets are currently locked in to the Stars and Avalanche are locked into the Central. Jets have 96 points, and I just do not see any of the teams in the wild card catching them. I just don't see it happening. As for the Pacific, Golden Knights are at 92. Yet again, I don't really see them getting bumped out of it. I'm pretty sure the Minnesota Wild cannot make it. Their next closest. The Kings are 89 points, and they're technically the last wildcard team to get in. Best wildcard team is the Nashville Predators, 90 points. So yeah, Wild are probably going to just miss and not even land in a good draft position. Same for the Blues. Blues could technically make it. They oddly hold more wins than the Kings, which I find fascinating, even though the Kings have 5 more points. That's just how hockey works. But even if it went off of wins, Wild wouldn't even stand a chance. The NHL season winds to an end. I don't really know how MVP stuff works necessarily. I don't know who the MVP is, but as we check in with some of your stat leaders, starting off with the skaters, Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, 130 points in total. Dude has been an absolute stud, passing and scoring. As for scoring, though, Austin Matthews, 63, has the most goals. Assists, though, Connor McDavid, 97. So it's kind of funny, Whoever has the most combined is Nikita Kucherov, but Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, probably in the top 3 best players in the league. Impressive stuff. Goalies, starting off with the GAA, my buddy, whom we might have on, Jane Watson, we've had him on before, told me what GAA meant, and I completely forgot. So Anthony Stolares of the Florida Panthers has a 2.12 GAA. That's the best. Save percentage also goes to Anthony Stolares with a .922%. Shutouts, Connor Ingram of the Coyotes, 6 shutouts. Is actually tied with Tristan Jerry of the Penguins. They both have 6. Good for them. Checking in with our defenseman, your points leader for defenseman, Quinn Hughes of the Vancouver Canucks, 86 points. Goals goes to Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. Fun name, Cale Makar. He's tied with Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators. Both have 19. As for assists for your defenseman, Quinn Hughes has 70. Yeah, Quinn Hughes, an absolute demon out there on the ice. Your points, it's not even close. Connor Bedard has 58. Next closest is Luke Hughes of the New Jersey Devils. Connor Bedard, obviously the stud from the Chicago Blackhawks. He's essentially the Victor Wembanyama of the NHL. He's essentially the I don't even know what other league to point at. There's just, what team is super bad where there's one star player? I think only the Spurs is a perfect example. Goals, Connor Bedard has 21, but keep in mind, right behind him, Marco Rossi of the Minnesota Wild has 20, and Tyson Forrester of the Philadelphia Flyers has the 20 as well. So Connor Bedard might be past there. And as for assists, same situation. Connor Bedard is 37, stat leader, but Luke Hughes and Brock Faber from the Minnesota Wild, close behind. Season is slowly coming to an end. Ooh, does this tell me what GAA means? It does not. NHL site, really need to fix that. How am I supposed to know stuff? How am I supposed to know this stuff? Let me see if there's any new news in the NHL, any big things that pop up. Usually the NBA is much better at giving news on their homepage. Yeah, the NHL main site doesn't really do a great job. But you know what? Season's winding to an end. We might do a full season recap when I have Cole and Jaden on, because they'll know more. And I'll be able to sit back and relax. I won't have to do all the talking. My mouth gets so dry just talking about everything. Maybe I need a co-host. Maybe next year. I'll get a co-host. That's just up in the air. And I'll tell you what was up in the air. The other night, I was like, what should I watch? I need a good movie to watch. So I go on and I Google, what are the best movies out there in the world to watch? And I finally got around to watching this. It has taken me 7 years now, but I finally watched Get Out, the horror directed by Jordan Peele. And let me just tell you, it was intense. It was just the scenes. Jordan Peele is just a master at crafting these scenes. I was very impressed. This movie has a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb and 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Stars Daniel Kaluuya as Chris Washington. He's dating this girl named Allison Williams, who plays Rose Armitage in the film. And Daniel and her, she's like, hey, you want to come up to my getaway, my family's place? And he's like, sure, I'm in love, I'll do it. And he goes there and he soon learns that her family is kind of weird. They're out to get him. And little do we know that, this is a spoiler alert, but I feel like everyone should kind of know the plot of Get Out. If I've explained it to you, it's been out 7 years. This is what I tried to explain the Godfather plot. And I'm like, that movie's been out 80 years. But no, basically, the family, the old rich white people, they basically, this girl, the daughter, lures black people up there. They then take out their brain, put in an older rich white person's brain, and they then use their body. That's essentially how it works. And they try and do that to Chris in the film. But luckily, Rod Williams, played by Lil Rel Howery, a hilarious actor, love him in almost everything he's in, saves the day, comes in. He's actually a little comedic aspect to this, but man, let me just tell you, the original ending that Jordan Peele had planned was so dark. It was meant to be a realistic ending where essentially the cops pull up and arrest him, because basically at the end of the movie, the house burns down, he kills everyone, he escapes, he survives, but the cops come and they arrest him and he goes to jail for this. But he changed the ending to make it more appropriate with the times, as this kind of got delayed, and I'm very glad he did, because it ends with him escaping. But it is dark. It also has Lakeith Stanfield, he's a noble actor. Bradley Whitford, who is in Godzilla King of the Monsters, love him. Marcus Henderson, Marcus Henderson is from Tacoma FD. Hilarious show. Absolutely love that. You have Betty Gabriel. I've seen her and stuff. A lot of good actresses and actors in this film. And Jordan Peele, absolutely amazing at what he does. I give this movie an 8.3 out of 10. You know, it kept me on the edge of my seat. I was watching some scenes and I'm just going like, what? That's going down. I don't know if you could really make a sequel to Jordan Peele films. He kind of leaves them up for interpretation at the end. But you know, a lot of foreshadowing in the film, a lot of deeper meanings of stuff. Chris in the film, he has trauma, the lead character, and you know, basically the mom is able to get him, essentially kidnap him and pin him down because she uses hypnosis, which is another theme exploring this themes. There's a lot of themes in this film. And I'll just say, man, it gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about that stuff. They got them all tied up, but the lore, they explore the lore of like the whole family in this film, and it is something. It is absolutely something. But yeah, I give it pretty good. Some people call it a 10 out of 10 movie. You know, there really isn't anything too violent in this film besides like the ending scene where Chris kills everyone. But that was kind of like a yay, you know, Chris saved the day, which is what I'm all about. I always love a little happy ending in these films, and Get Out, an appropriate title. It's one of those movies where a character says the title of the film in the movie. You're kind of like, oh, he said that. Very fun. But I think it's time for us to get out. Imagine if that's how I ended the podcast. Just saying like, hey, get out. I'll tell you another show that I've been watching and actually finished watching. You know, it unfortunately came to an end, and that was Invincible. That is right, the animated show on Amazon Prime is absolutely amazing. Basically, it is a superhero show. I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, you know, sadly, I feel like they've done this so odd. It's taken so long for episodes to come out, and the season finale of season 2 just went down, and I absolutely loved it. But it just feels like they ended mid-season. I know it didn't really feel like the ending of season 2. It's almost like it's not even like a cliffhanger. It's like, okay, nothing was solved. Like there's still more story to be told. And obviously season 3 is in development. The first season came out in 2021. The next season came out in 2023. They then took a 4-month break in the middle of season 2. So the first 4 episodes came out, then they took a 4-month break to release the final 4 episodes. So the last 4 weeks, I've watched 4 episodes, and essentially that's the whole series. Man, it's so good. It's just setting up so much big stuff. And the director, a writer of everything, said, don't worry, we will not be that long. The max we're looking at is a year and a half. We're hoping to do it in a year. So hopefully the next time I'm speaking to you about Invincible will be when will that be? Next March? Oh my gosh, next April? You gotta be kidding me. Maybe even next summer. Not even this upcoming summer 2025. But they put a lot of effort into the animation, so I'm sure that's why it takes so long. Of course, this season ended Mark fighting the kind of the villain of this show, even though he wasn't in it too much. What was his name? Artwin, Leandro Artwin. I don't even know. Some guy who can create portals and stuff. And, you know, he attacked Mark's mom and his brother, and he actually like completely breaks his mom's arm. And Mark kind of loses it. You know, he's chasing through these dimensions. We get cameos from Batman, The Walking Dead universe, Spider-Man, Mad Max. It's pretty funny. And finally we get to this universe, and Mark is able to fight him one-on-one, and the villain's kind of just like, you know, I've gotten stronger than last time. And Mark, you know, he is invincible. That's his character's name. And dude, he absolutely murders the guy. Oh my gosh, absolutely murks him, destroys him, kills him so bloodily, he's covered in blood. And he keeps saying, I lost control. And he's really devastated. And, you know, all the other characters are telling him, no, it's okay, you're all good. But I mean, just a crazy, crazy ending to the show. And, you know, I'm telling you, there's this chick named Adam Eve in the film, another superhero, and him and Adam Eve have that Jim and Pam relationship where you're like, come on, you know, just tell her you like her. Just tell him. And, you know, I can tell they're building that up. And I'm kind of glad they still are. Because remember, once Jim and Pam got together, it's like the whole excitement. It's there for the moment when they kiss. You're like, yeah. And that's like, okay, yeah, now they're just in a relationship. You also have Alan the Alien, voiced by Seth Rogen. Absolutely love that. Incredible voice actors on all these things. He's talking to Omni-Man, who's in prison, voiced by the great J.K. Simmons. Absolutely love J.K. Simmons. Amazing actor. And essentially, they're going to be a little team next season and break out of prison together. Excited for that. Guardians of the Globe, of course, they're all going to be in it again next season. I'm excited to see what villains return, what heroes return. But yeah, it's just one of those shows where I'm like, okay, I just finished this. It took every episode comes out once a week, and now I have to wait a full year minimum. It's like minimum of a year. I'm gonna lose all hype, but. You know what? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good finale. I thought it was a very good finale. I know some people were critiquing it, but also from what I've heard is that there is so much stuff from the comic books that there's going to be lots of seasons of this. Like a lot of seasons of this show. I don't know whether to be excited or be disappointed because obviously if there's a lot of seasons, that's meant to take years. I saw people saying, like, if you're in your early 20s, be prepared to have the finale come out when you're 30, which I thought was pretty funny. But at the same time, I watched The Modern Family. I've watched The Middle, The Office. I've watched Walking Dead, too, since I was little. And now that I'm grown up, it's like, I guess time just kind of moves fast. Speaking of The Walking Dead, the director, whatever, the writer, director of whatever, I think it's the producer, director, whatever, he's the one writing this show, and The Walking Dead went on, 10 seasons, 11 seasons, 12 seasons, and they had more episodes than Invincible per season, so I'm almost kind of going, oh my gosh, this is never going to end, because the comic book, it's not really like Marvel comics where they keep writing comics. It's like the Invincible comics are already written, so you can already go out online and figure out how the story ends. Obviously, the good guys probably win in the end. I don't really want to find any of that out. I like to be surprised, but I can just tell they're building that up. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. They're going to keep building it up, and hopefully, unlike Game of Thrones, they can actually stick the landing. Hopefully who's ever piloting this ship can actually stick the landing, because they couldn't do that with Game of Thrones. None whatsoever. But Invincible, a 9 out of 10 show for me. 9 out of 10 show, which is very good. Very good. 90%. You get 90% on an assignment, you should be happy. And when I give out 90% for a show, you should be happy with that rating. Absolutely love it, Invincible. It's a shame I won't get to watch you for a while, but nonetheless, I still enjoy talking about you all the time, and honestly, sometimes I feel invincible. I feel very invincible, and I felt very invincible the other day when the UFC EA Sports 5, or EA Sports, oh my gosh, EA Sports, where I'm going to mention about them, announced that they were adding 30 new fighters to the game. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'd just been talking about it, how they really need to update something. I haven't been playing the game, and they decided to drop a bombshell, and they dropped 9 new fighters today. Those fighters being Mozafar Evlov, 18-0, undefeated, currently ranked in the top, actually, what even is Mozafar now? Is he top 5? He ranked number 5 at men's featherweight, been wanting him for a while. Brendan Allen, who'll be fighting in the main event this weekend, he was added to the game, ranked number 6 at middleweight. They even added Marina Rodriguez, who fights Jessica Andrade at UFC 300. Marina Rodriguez, number 6 woman strawweight in the world. They added the undefeated young up-and-comer in the flyweight division, Mohamed Mokayev, currently ranked number 7 at flyweight. They finally add Sergey Spivak to the game, men's heavyweight, ranked number 9th. That dude has been the UFC a fat minute. Same for Jeff Neal. About time they added him, the number 10 men's welterweight in the world. They also added Khabib's cousin, Umar Nurmagomedov, ranked number 10 at men's bantamweight. As well, they had Tracy Cortez, ranked number 11 at women's flyweight, and Diego Lopez, who fights for a ranked position at UFC 300. So many fun fighters. I played with just about all of them today. I just had to do it. I just had to hop on the game and play with them because it's so fun. Love that they added all these fighters. In the coming days, they're also going to be adding Drew Dober, UFC lightweight legend. Oh my gosh, he should have been in the game from the get-go. He should have been in UFC 3, he's a staple. I mean, when we talk about unranked fighters or even bottom 15 fighters, Drew Dober's actually ranked 15th at lightweight. I didn't even know that. They're also adding Natalie Silva. Natalie Silva ranked number 8 at women's flyweight. She's a killer. Excited to see her fight. Michael Venom Page, who debuted at UFC 299, beating Kevin Holland. He's ranked 13th at men's welterweight. Very happy with that addition to the game. They're also adding Matthias Nikalu. Of course, we mentioned he'll be fighting Alex Perez in the main event coming up. Virna Jandiroba, who just got a win the previous weekend. As boring of a fighter as she is, she ranked number 5 in the women's strawweight division. 3-fight win streak. They're adding Manel Cape, who did pull out of his fight April 27th, which kind of upset me, but nonetheless, Manel Cape is the number 6 men's flyweight in the world, should be in the game. Also adding Steven Ursig, who's fighting Alexander Pintoa for the belt May 4th. Added Marcin Tybura. Oh, I didn't even know they're adding Marcin Tybura. How about that? Marcin Tybura, the number... what is Marcin now? The number 8 heavyweight in the men's heavyweight division. How about that? Happy to see Marcin in the game. Nasruddin Imavov is being added. He's the number 8 men's middleweight in the world, coming off a big win over Roman Dolidze, number 9 ranked. He's being added to the game, as well as his opponent for UFC 302, Anthony Hernandez, who's ranked number 12 at men's middleweight. Also adding Benoit Saint Denis, of course, the lightweight who fought Dustin Poirier. Close match, fun fight. Kayla Harrison, who fights Holly Holmes on UFC 300. Jonathan Martinez, who fights Jose Aldo at UFC 301. Michelle Pereira, who I cannot believe is not ranked. Michelle Pereira should definitely be ranked. 7-fight win streak. He's fun. Brazilian, fighting at UFC 301. Also adding Lupe Godinez, who I'm pretty sure they thought was going to beat Virna Jandiroba, but oh well, she's still fun to watch. Kyle Barallo, ranked number 15th at men's middleweight. Kyle Barallo is on a big win streak. I think it's like 9 or 10 fights now. Norma Dumont, top 10 women's bantamweight. Tagir Bekov, who's in the top 15 of men's flyweight. Alexander Romanov, top 15 heavyweight. Mario Bautista, cannot wait to play with him, top 15 bantamweight. Pankianziad, who's one of the most, like, you're reading all these names like, yeah, I can't believe he's in the game. I can't believe he's in the game. Oh, Pankianziad, the relevant women's bantamweight. Thank goodness she's in the game. Joaquin Buckley, who just picked up a big win over Vicente Luque to storm into the men's welterweight rankings. Randy Brown, notable unranked welterweight. Love when they add random fighters like that, as well as Chris Curtis, who will be fighting in the main event this upcoming weekend. So excited. They also improved gameplay a bit. UFC EA Sports 5 on absolute fire, or just absolutely love it. I'm going to be playing with all of these new fighters. And then they said, even after they add all these fighters, they'll slowly add these till the end of June. Then they said every month you can expect 1 to 3 new fighters. And I'm like, perfect. We're still adding new fighters. I wish they would kind of add a new game mode or something like that, but I'll take any of the fighters I can get. Especially, they said after they add them to the game, they will have 98% of all ranked fighters. Or it's either ranked fighters, I think it's top 10 fighters in the game, which is incredible. This will have the biggest roster in UFC history. And the fact that they're doing this really shows that they actually care about the game, which really warms my heart, because I care when I play the game. So UFC 5, you get an A+ for effort. I'll tell you what I know for a fact is going to get an A+. That is WrestleMania 40 going down this weekend. We, of course, went on our little series of revisiting every single WrestleMania, and it is all led up to this, our official WrestleMania 40 predictions. We're going to look at the cards, look at the event, and talk about who we think will come out victorious this weekend. WrestleMania 40 going down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Lincoln Financial Field. We are primed for an absolutely beautiful card. The 40th edition of WrestleMania, absolutely crazy. It's been going on for 40 years. WrestleMania, of course, essentially the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup, the March Madness of professional wrestling. I can assume you're going to see a lot of... what am I trying to say? A lot of celebrities here. They already have a couple ones announced. Some Grammy Award-winning rapper Lil Wayne will debut his latest single during the event. Okay, I didn't even know Lil Wayne still made music. And rapper and Philadelphia native Meek Mill will narrate the cold open for the event. I'm sure they aren't too happy with that. If you haven't heard the rumors, is that Meek Mill is a little sus with P. Diddy. Yeah, I don't really know what that's all about. We'll kind of leave that there. Of course, when it comes to predicting WWE versus UFC, for example, UFC, you can look at the stats and stuff, but with WWE, it's all about the storyline. It's already scripted. It's just a matter of the performance that we go to see. And hey, I don't know anything that's going to happen. I'm excited though, but the big storyline here is for the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, and you also have a tag team match where The Rock will be teaming with Roman Reigns to take on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. A lot of fun stuff. Let's get into all the night 1 and night 2 matches as we have 13 matchups in total. Let's get it off with night 1. Night 1, we start off with a singles match for the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley takes on Becky Lynch. And honestly, as over as Becky Lynch is, it's kind of tough because I don't feel like they want to start WrestleMania with the bad guy winning. I just feel they never really do that as we look at past WrestleManias. So I am going to say Becky Lynch becomes the new Women's World Champion. But, these women were on the Ariel Helwani show. They've gone on CBS. They've been doing a pretty good job promoting this, making it seem real, even when we know it's scripted. But Rhea Ripley is super over right now at the WWE Universe. But I think Becky Lynch, the good guy, the man as her nickname is, will get it done to kick off the evening. So we'll start that off. I'm going to write all these down because I know my buddy Ty wanted to hear all my predictions. And I could be mean and tell him to listen to the episode. Or I could just straight up send them to him. So there we go. Next up, we have a singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, and it is Gunther, your current champion, taking on Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, a great professional wrestler, and so is Gunther. Gunther is amazing at what he does. He's also the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Gunther's younger. Gunther, he's not dropping in here. Give me Gunther with ease. Gunther with ease. Look, there isn't really any build here. There's only much going on. I'd lean Gunther more just because he's held this belt for over 600 days. We're nearing 2 years coming up soon. Sami Zayn, been in the business a while. I'm sure he would not be mad putting Gunther over here. After that, we have a 6-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. I'm so excited. I am so excited. They're unifying the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships into just the WWE Tag Team Championships. I like when there's less belts, oddly. They feel more prestige than when every single platform has a belt. Your teams in the match are the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest. Damian Priest is your current Money in the Bank ladder match winner. Actually holds the briefcase. And Finn Balor's been in the business a minute. High flyer, acrobatic, he's strong, love him. They'll be taking on DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. If you ever want to watch some legendary, amazing wrestling matches, go back to 2018 and 2019 and watch Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. I know they're tag team partners now, but 5 years ago, they were enemies, and they gave some of the best professional wrestling matches of all time. Also in there is the Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth, two comedic stars, two former champions. Miz has actually main evented WrestleMania before. 13 years ago, he main evented WrestleMania 27. They're your comedic tag team. The New Day is in this, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. New Day, man, they've been at it 10 years as a team. It's worked well. You also have A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I'm pretty sure they're just in there. And you also have New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. Great. All of these are just great professional wrestlers. I don't really see New Catch Republic winning. I don't really see A-Team Down Under winning. Austin Theory had so much momentum, and it all kind of got killed, oddly. The New Day, they've won it so many times, I just don't see it. I'm really looking at maybe the Judgment Day getting it done, but at the same time, Damian Priest holds the Money in the Bank. I don't really see that angle working. DIY is fun with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, but really, I'm looking at the Awesome Truth to get it done. I mean, come on, The Miz, R-Truth. It's such a fun team. It's such a fun team, the Awesome Truth. Miz's, I guess, nickname or persona is that he's awesome, but it's fun. I enjoy it, and I hope that this match is really good. After that, we have potentially the best matchup of this whole night besides the main event. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, real-life brothers doing battle. I'm so pumped for this. Jimmy and Jey they're so great. So great at what they do, and they've sold this whole bloodline storyline so well. This is giving Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy vibes at WrestleMania 25. It is going to be electric. I'm excited, but I'm going to go with Jey Uso. Just because, it's either Jey or Jimmy. And I kind of feel like Jey has always been the superior Uso when it has come to performing. I just feel he's more over as well. We'll go with Jay, but we'll see what happens. After that, we have a 6-woman tag team match as Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi will take on Damage Control, which consists of Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. This is just throwing random women on there. Give me the team of Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. You know what? I'm going with the black woman over the Asians for this one. And as you know, as much as you say, Zach, you can't say that. It is literally a team of 3 African American women versus 3 Asian women. I don't know what you want from me. It's up in the air, and I went with the latter. Next up, your co-main event, if you will, of the night, another tag team match. Are you kidding me? Of the 7 matchups on this card, 4 tag team matches? My goodness. It is Latino World Order, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I don't know who Dragon Lee is. I don't know who Santos Escobar is. But Dominic Mysterio is actually Rey Mysterio's son in real life. Rey's getting old, you know. I'm probably going to see him maybe putting his son over here. I think he beat his son last WrestleMania. So we're going to say this team of Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio get it done. Dom's younger, you know. I feel like his dad will want to build him up. And by the way, I don't really know much about any of these storylines. I'm all here for the main event of night number 1 as the Bloodline, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, take on Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. And there's a stipulation for this match. If Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win, then all members of the Bloodline will be barred from ringside for the Night 2 main event between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Between Cody Rhodes and the Roman Reigns, my bad, reading too many names at once, for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. But if The Rock and Roman Reigns win, the championship match on Night 2 will be held under Bloodline rules. And I think this spoils it. I think this absolutely spoils it because they're not going to say Bloodline rules. They're not going to tease us with Bloodline rules and not have us do it. They're just not going to do that, okay? When you say something fun like, oh, you know, if Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win, all the team members of the Bloodline are banned from ringside, but if the other team wins, then there will be Bloodline rules for the match. It's you know, they're definitely going to give us something spicy with whoever this Bloodline is. And plus The Rock, I don't see him losing here. I think The Rock might even be the one to get the pinfall for this match. But at the same time, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins could get it done. I hope it's entertaining. I just have a pretty good feeling it's going to be entertaining. The Rock, Roman Reigns will beat Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in the tag team match. And Seth Rollins is just there because, you know, he's essentially enemies with Roman Reigns and The Rock. It's pretty funny. It's pretty comical. I'm excited for night number 1. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It gets better with night 2 as we have 6 matchups, which means a lot of these matches are probably going to be longer, which I don't really know if that's bad or good. I mean, I don't really think it matters. I think it's just exciting overall, but we kick off night number 2. I don't actually know if this is the matchup order. You know, this is just the order of the matches that they're presented to me. Because in reality, if we look at night 1, a real co-main event would probably be Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, or Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Whereas for night 2, you know, you have your World Heavyweight Championship match as your first match of the night. I don't really buy that. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. So I'm actually going to say that's probably going to be later in the card, but we're just talking about it as Wikipedia has it listed. Some people can go, oh, Wikipedia's not a good source. WWE's Wikipedia is very reliable, surprisingly. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I've been seeing the talk all around as Drew McIntyre has been built up so much. He's been talking so much trash. They're saying it's so predictable that Drew McIntyre is going to win. But guess what? I don't buy it. I'm going with Seth Rollins to retain the World Heavyweight Championship to spice it up, to give us something we don't see coming. Plus, you know, I think if he's losing on the other night, then, and you know, I think him and Cody, if they lose night 1, they're probably both going to win night 2. But if they win night 1, I definitely see Seth Rollins losing. So it'll all depend on night 1 goes, my bad. But for night 2, I'm riding with Seth Rollins over Drew McIntyre. After that, we have a singles match for the WWE Women's Championship. So there's a difference. There's a World's Women's Championship, and then there's also a WWE Women's Championship. That is so random to me. Io Sky versus Bayley. I don't really know who Io Sky is, but Bayley, she has got a lot of momentum behind her. The fans seem to love her. Give me Bayley over Io Sky. That's just what I think is going to happen. I don't really know much about the women, but hey, you know what? You seem like you got some momentum. You're also a champion in whatever you do. If you're a champion in whatever you do, you have to be somewhat good. After that, our singles match for night 2, we have LA Knight versus AJ Styles. A fun match between two excellent professional wrestlers, but I'm going with LA Knight. He just has so much momentum with the crowd. AJ Styles, been in the business a while, and he historically doesn't really win at WrestleMania, I feel. I don't really know much. I think this storyline is good from what I've seen online, but I'm just going to go with LA Knight because he's got a cool name. Cool name, LA Knight. What could potentially be the best wrestling we see? I'm talking actual wrestling-wise. We have a triple threat match for the United States Championship as your champion Logan Paul will defend against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. This is going to be such a fun matchup. Logan Paul has turned out to be an amazing professional wrestler. I mean, who saw that coming? Logan Paul's takeover of the world continues. Randy Orton been in the business a while. Same with Kevin Owens. This is just a matter of, I think Randy Orton would make a better champion than Kevin Owens. But at the same time, is Randy Orton really at that stage where he's going to lose this matchup? I don't really know. I think Logan Paul retains his belt here. Logan Paul is super over. There's no sense you should have him drop this belt to an old guy like Randy Orton. I mean, goodness me, how old's Randy? I'm going to break my heart. He was born in 1980. Okay. 44 isn't that bad. It's actually that bad. He's actually probably 43. I think his birthday's later in the year. But I mean, yeah. This should be a fun matchup. But I'm probably going with Logan Paul. Just because. The second to last match in the night, according to right now, I don't think it's actually going to be, will be The Pride, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford with B-Fab. By the way, I have no idea who B-Fab is. Versus The Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akam, and Rezar with Scarlett and Paul Ellering. Holy cow, a lot of names, a lot of craziness. Gosh, I don't even know. How many good guys have I picked? I've picked one good guy, two good guys, three good guys. I picked three good guys and one bad guy for night 2. Three faces, I think, to win. So I don't really know who the bad guys are. It's probably The Final Testament. So we're going to say The Final Testament wins. By the way, no idea who these teams are. No idea about them. But, yeah, we're all here for the main event. That's the only reason I'll be tuning in to WrestleMania wherever it's on. As we have the match, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, the rematch from last year's WrestleMania main event. We don't know the stipulation for the match yet, but we do know it is for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and Roman Reigns' 1,000+ day reign is probably coming to an end. I'm just going to let you know, it's probably coming to an end. I just get that vibe. It's just, they built Roman Reigns up so much where it's not just anyone can beat him. And I think the only reason that I have Cody Rhodes winning, there's only one reason I have Cody Rhodes winning. First off, he can make a good champion. He's making, obviously that's an obvious one, but the main one for me, the only real reason one is they've built him up so much. He seems like someone who can take the belt. You have to in WWE, you have to have it feel like someone can beat someone for the belt. As we look at Roman Reigns' past few wins, I mean, his 2021 rivalry with John Cena, with his brother Jey Uso, when he's fought in Brock Lesnar, when he's fought in Edge, Daniel Bryan, LA Knight, Sami Zayn, a lot of these guys, they somewhat felt like they could win, but at the same time, it's like Roman Reigns just felt better than them. Now that we've reached this point, Cody Rhodes has reached such a level where he's so over with the fans that if he loses, it feels like he just shouldn't be in the company anymore. I've also heard that Roman Reigns, his real life name, Joe Anoa'i or whatever, he of course had leukemia, and I think his body's still kind of worn out from it. I mean, Roman Reigns is no young buck. He's no young buck. He's 38, which actually isn't that old as I kind of look at it. So yeah, how old's Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes is 38 as well. Okay, I guess I'm just spitting false information here, but it just feels like Cody Rhodes is going to win. I honestly would prefer if Roman Reigns won. If I'm being honest, I'd love to see this continue and just never end, but all good things do come to an end. And WrestleMania 40, he's already won the last 3 WrestleMania main events. They're probably going to go with Cody Rhodes. But this should be an absolutely electric WrestleMania. So pumped for it. I'm excited to see the stage. I love when the fighters walk out. If I were to go through all the matches, I'll say Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso intrigues me. Obviously, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins intrigues me. I'd say the triple threat match intrigues me, and the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, the official main event as you call it, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, does intrigue me. So 4 of the 13 matches are actually what draws interest out of me. They always just try and throw so many tag team matches on here. I mean, my goodness, how many freaking tag matches can you have on one thing? I think of the 13 matches, they have 5. They have 5 tag team matches. That's a lot. Tag team matches. But yeah, it should be a great WrestleMania. It could be the final time you see Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania, unless he faces The Rock in the main event next year, which I've heard could be a rumor. I've also hearing that potentially WrestleMania could be coming to Minnesota. As fun as that would be, I don't have the funds. I don't have the funds yet, honey, so I'm thinking maybe they could push that off one more year. Then that would make me very happy. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, those are your WrestleMania 40 predictions, your preview, kind of, a little bit of a preview of WrestleMania. I don't really think there's any other info I can give you. Canceled matches. Brock Lesnar, who last appeared at SummerSlam in August, was planned to return here. However, due to Lesnar being referenced in a sex trafficking lawsuit, he was pulled. And CM Punk, who made a 10-year return at Survivor Series, legitimately tore his right tricep during the Men's Royal Rumble. He was originally supposed to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, but that was unfortunately canceled. Such a shame we didn't get to see CM Punk. But yeah, after hearing how bad of a dude Brock Lesnar is, that is not too bad of a loss. So I'm being honest, I could care less about Brock Lesnar now, which sucks because I liked him, but turns out he's not a good guy. So that concludes our WrestleMania 40 preview, predictions, whatever you want to call it. And now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to the main event of our episode, which is your UFC Vegas 90, the 90th event at the UFC Apex. You gotta be kidding me. These have to end. The preview, the predictions for all 13 fights on this card. Obviously, fights are scheduled to change due to the weigh-ins. Cancellations can happen up into the day, but nonetheless, we will give our predictions, go through every event, every fighter, every fight, and see who we think will come out victorious. That's the whole reason I created this podcast, and that's why maybe some of you have tuned in today. Also, that's why I add markers, so you can see when we're talking about certain things. So without ado, let's dive right in, starting with our very first prelim of the night. We kick off our little Apex card here in the women's bantamweight division as Melissa No Mess Mullins takes on Nora Cornale. Melissa is 6-0 undefeated. Nora is 7-1. Not too shabby. 5'7" for both women in height. 68 inches in reach for Melissa. 67 inches for Nora. Gives Melissa 1 inch in reach. Let's start with the 6-0 undefeated Melissa Mullins. 32 years young from England. Good old city of England. 3 KOs of her 6 victories. She debuted last October when she beat Irina Alekseeva by unanimous decision. And in that fight, she was knocked down, taken down, but still managed to outstrike Irina to a decision. I kid you not, that's all the information I can find on Melissa Mullins. Not too much from her. She's from England, though. She's, for being 32 years old and only having 6 wins, I mean, that's kind of surprising, I won't lie, but... And nice to have her here. Always is. Nora Cornale, her opponent, 34 years old, from France, the good old nation of France. Of her 7 victories, 5 KOs, and 1 sub. That only decision was actually in her UFC debut back in Paris, and she is on a 7-fight win streak. Lost her debut, since then has not lost. She beat Jocelyn Edwards, and the name to the game in that one is, basically she had the France crowd on her side. She had the French crowd on her side, and every time Jocelyn Edwards landed a takedown, she did nothing with it. So I think that kind of plays into it. So this is kind of tough for me because, Nora picked up a big win. Melissa's used to the Apex. I think maybe the crowd not being on our side might derail Nora a bit, honestly, when I look at this. When I look at this, I obviously feel Nora. I feel like I've seen her more. I feel like she's better. But with Melissa Mullins, the thing is she's fought at the Apex. She knows what it's like there. And as much as she had a tough round 1 against Irina Alekseeva, she was able to come back in the next few and get it done. So for that reason, we are going to go with Melissa Mullins. And we have to come back, guys. We went 4-9 last week, which was atrocious. That's just not what I want to be known for at all. I want to be known for being good at UFC picks. So we're going with Melissa Mullins by decision. But as we know, these women's bantamweight fights are always a toss-up. Next up, we head to the men's middleweight division as Dylan the Mindless Hulk Budka takes on Cesar Cecinha Almeida. Dylan Budka is 7-2 professionally. Cesar Almeida 4-0. 6'1" to 6 foot gives Cesar 1 inch in height. Dylan has 1 inch in reach, 75 to 74. A switch stance for Dylan Budka, orthodox for Cesar Almeida. Let's start off with Dylan Budka. Dylan Budka is 24 years young from Ohio. He actually went to Notre Dame, went to the University of Notre Dame. Pretty fun fact. Of his 7 victories, 1 KO and 2 submissions, and he's currently on a little 2-fight win streak. Fought last September on Dana White's Contender Series, getting a win over Chad Hancombe. Now, I won't lie, that was a very boring fight. Not entertaining at all. Just nothing really went on. So for Dylan, we don't really have much to go off of. As for his opponent, Cesar Almeida, Cesar is 36 years old from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Of his 4 victories, 3 KOs. Of those 3 KOs, all were in round 1. And he was supposed to fight Josh Frem, but Josh Frem unfortunately had to pull out with an injury, so Dylan is stepping in on short notice. I do want to point out some interesting things. First off, Cesar's only had 4 professional fights, and he's 36 years old. In MMA, might I add. Cesar has also, he fought on Dana White's Contender Series last August, picked up a win over Lucas Fernando, but he was taken down 3 times. Now, he did defend 7 of those, had a crazy dominant round 2 in that fight, 43 significant strikes to 7, but in the rounds he was taken down, it kind of did withhold him back. He couldn't really do much, and he was able to win with a 30-26, 29-27, 29-28 decision cards, as I believe he got a 10-8 in round 2. But, and as for Dylan is, what I'm trying to say is there's nothing really to go off of for this fight, and it's troubling me. I don't really know what to do. Dylan was able to get 6.5 minutes of control time his last fight, but it was kind of back and forth over and over. I have nothing to go off of. I have nothing to really do here. So we're going to go with Cesar Almeida. He's 4-0. He's undefeated. Maybe I get this wrong. Maybe I get this right. I don't really know. And to make it even more spicy, of his 4 victories, 3 round 1 knockouts, we'll say a round 1 knockout. We'll say a nice little quick round 1 knockout for Cesar Almeida. There's a reason this is on the early prelims. I'll say that for certain. Following that up, we head to the men's bantamweight division as Dan the Determined Argueta takes on Gene Matsumoto. Dan Argueta is 9-1 with 2 no contests. Gene Matsumoto, 14 wins, 0 losses. 5'7" to 5'6" gives Dan 1 inch in height. Both men have a 68-inch reach advantage. Southpaw stance with that left hand for Dan, orthodox with the right for Gene Matsumoto. Let's start off with the undefeated 14-0 Gene Matsumoto. Gene is 24 years old from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Of his 14 victories, 3 KOs and 5 submissions. Gene on absolute fire. Fought on Season 7 of Dana White's Contender Series, beating Casey Tanner by unanimous decision. Honestly, in that fight, Gene really just leaned on the striking. He was outstruck in round 2, but finished the fight strong in round 3, throwing 111 significant strikes, landing 44 of them. Gene, you know what? Of your 14 victories, 8 finishes. We'll see if you can get another one here. But Dan Argueta is a tough cookie, I'll tell you that for certain. Dan is 30 years old from New Mexico. Of his 9 victories, 2 KOs and 4 subs. Trains at Jackson Wink MMA, same gym as Carlos Condit, John Dodson, and the great John Bones Jones. Now, as for Dan Argueta, he is technically 1-1 with 2 no contests in the UFC. He picked up a win and a loss in his last 2 fights in 2023, but they were both overturned in no contests due to some reason. I don't know if it was a drug popped up on Dan or something, but for some reason, his last 2 fights were both ruled no contests. I do think this has to do with some form of substance. And Dan, his only official loss is to Damon Jackson, who actually fights on this card. But Gene Matsumoto is 14-0, undefeated. Yeah, give me Gene Matsumoto. We love the undefeated fighters. We are going to say by decision because it's an Apex card, and we're just going to play it safe. Let's keep it moving. These prelims aren't the most exciting. Next up, women's strawweight action. Piera La Fiera Rodriguez takes on Cynthia Calvillo. Piera Rodriguez is 9-1. Cynthia Calvillo is 9-6 with one draw. 5'4" to 5'3" gives Cynthia 1 inch in height. She also has 1 inch in reach, 64 to 63. Both women stand in the orthodox stance of fighting. Let's kick it off with Cynthia Calvillo, UFC veteran, 36 years old, from Nevada. 2 KOs and 3 subs make up her 9 victories. And she's currently on a 5-fight losing streak. Now, Cynthia Calvillo debuted in the UFC in 2017. Started off with her four victories to start off her career. 3 were by rear naked choke. Her only first career loss was to Carla Esparza, and she actually had a draw against Marina Rodriguez. And then in June of 2020, she won a Fight Night main event against Jessica Ai, and I kind of really thought that, she might be next in line for a title shot. And since then, she has lost 5 straight, including a decision loss to Caitlin Chukagian, who's now Caitlin Sermonero. A round 1 TKO loss to Jessica Andrade. An injury stoppage against Andre Lee, a split decision loss against Nia Nunes, and a split decision loss against Lupi Godinez. So I do look at that. Her last 2 fights, she did lose by split decision. She outstruck her opponents, had more takedowns, but at the end of the day, refs just saw it going the other way. So that's just something to take of note for Cynthia Calvillo. Her opponent, Piera Rodriguez, 31 years old, from Venezuela, but now fights out of Panama. Of her 9 victories, 5 KOs. Her 1 career loss was in her last bout in April when Jillian Robertson, who's currently ranked number 15th at women's strawweight, submitted her with an armbar in round number 2. Before that, she had gone 2-0 in her UFC fights, beating Kay Hansen and Sam Hughes by unanimous decision. But you know what? You know what I'm feeling about this? Piera Rodriguez, she just lost to Jillian Robertson. Doesn't really have much momentum. Cynthia Calvillo, 5-fight losing streak, backs against the wall. What's Cynthia Calvillo going to do? She's going to pull out a decision win here. Cynthia Calvillo, no one's going to see it coming from the rafters, gets not only a win, but a round 1 submission win. No one's going to see it coming. Cynthia Calvillo gets it done. We got to throw the oddball picks in there. We wouldn't be the Surprise Chat podcast without some surprise picks. Absolutely love it. Best of luck to both women. I probably won't watch this fight. Next up, bantamweight action as Pedro Pedrino Falcao takes on Victor Striker Hugo. Pedro Falcao is 16-3 professionally. Victor Hugo is 24-4. 5'7" to 5'6" gives Victor 1 inch in height, and he has 5 inches in reach, 71 inches to 66. Both men stand in the orthodox stance. Let's start off with the short notice fighter, Pedro Falcao. Fought on Season 5 of Dana White's Contender Series, TKOing James Barnes in round number 3. Pedro is 31 years old, from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Of his 16 victories, 6 KOs and 5 subs. Currently rides a 5-fight win streak, guys. You know what? He never really joined the UFC after his win on there. His last loss was actually in 2018. Wow. 5-fight win streak, last loss in 2018. So he's averaging about a fight a year, which isn't too pretty. But, happy to have you step in on short notice. Victor Hugo was supposed to take on Alatenge, but Alatenge pulled out. So in steps Pedro on just about a week's notice. His opponent, Victor Hugo, also coming from Dana White's Contender Series, but he fought on Season 7 back in October and got a round 2 knee bar. Now Victor steps into UFC, 31 years old as well, from Brazil. Of his 24 victories, 8 KOs and 9 subs. Wow, 17 of his 24 wins by finish. He's currently on a 13-fight win streak. That's all I need to hear. He's actually won his last 3 fights by knee bar or leg lock, which I find pretty impressive. Pedro, you're stepping on short notice, but I got to ride with Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo has a name kind of like an old British guy who kind of just like rules over a town or something. We're going to say round 2 submission. I love the submission picks on here. I absolutely love picking submissions. I feel like they're so rare compared to knockouts. And I think, was it last week or the week before, we didn't even have a submission on the card. Very odd, very weird. We keep the card moving. We keep it moving, getting through all these fights. Finally, we get some ranked opponents. Actually, Melissa Mullins was ranked 15th at women's bantamweight. My bad, I didn't know that, but we do head to the women's bantamweight division next as number 11, Norma Dumont, welcomes back Germaine de Randamie to the division. Former title challenger Germaine de Randamie. Norma, the Immortal Dumont, is 10-2. Germaine, the Iron Lady de Randamie, is 10-4. 5'9" to 5'7" gives Germaine 2 inches in height, and she has 4 inches in reach, 71 inches to 67. Both women stand in the orthodox position. Let's start it off with Norma Dumont, currently ranked number 11. I mean, what more do you want from her? 6-2 in the UFC, currently on a little 3-fight win streak. Norma is 33 years old, from Brazil. I won't lie, of her 10 victories, only 2 submissions, and she was actually supposed to fight Yana Santos, who's ranked number 10 in the women's bantamweight division back in January, but Yana pulled out of that. So now she finds herself welcoming back Germaine de Randamie to the division. Norma, yet to get a finish in the UFC, which kind of sucks. Her 2 losses are to Macy Chiasson and Megan Anderson, which aren't too bad. So yeah, Norma Dumont, typical decision fighter. Probably some of her biggest wins over Carol Rosa, Aspen Ladd, Felicia Spencer. Not much to say there. Germaine de Randamie, though, holy cow, 39 years old, from the Netherlands, trains at AKA the same gym as Khabib Nurmagomedov and Daniel Cormier. Germaine, of her 10 victories, 4 KOs and 1 sub, so she actually has more finishes. Germaine, legend of the UFC, debuted in 2011, was a champion in Strikeforce. I mean, most notably, fought Amanda Nunes twice. Actually, last fought her in December of 2019 at UFC 245 when Amanda beat her by unanimous decision, but Germaine was always a threat during that fight. Her last fight in the UFC and professionally was against Juliana Pena, former women's bantamweight champion, back in October of 2020 when she submitted her in round number 3. It has been a while since we've seen Germaine de Randamie. It has been way too long. She left. She's dealt with injuries. She's dealt with having a baby. She's dealt with so much. She's been out of the game for a while. This goes 2 ways. This fight goes 2 ways. Either the old broad comes back, shows she can still do it, whoops the youngins' arse, or you know what? Norma Dumont continues the steam rolling. She last fought in July, getting a big win over Chelsea Chandler. The one thing I've noted is that Norma Dumont never really has like a dominant, impressive win. And as much as I love Norma Dumont, as much as I think she's legit, I got her out at the Iron Lady. I'd be mad if I don't pick her. You know, Germaine de Randamie, I was sad she stepped away. I was happy when she beat Juliana Pena. You know what? We're going to say by decision. I don't see a finish coming here, but if it does, it's going Germaine de Randamie's way. All the stats are pointing against Germaine de Randamie, which makes me want to pick her even more. So we're going Germaine de Randamie over Norma Dumont by unanimous decision. Keeping us rolling with our final prelim of the night, I believe. I think we have a 6-fight main card. As we head to the men's welterweight division, as Court the Crusher McGee takes on Alex the Great White Morono, the Great White. Court McGee is 22-12 professionally. Alex Morono 23-9 with 1 no contest. 5'11" for each men, 75-inch reach for Court compared to 72 for Alex, so he's got 3 inches in reach, and both men stand in the orthodox stance. Let's start with the veteran, the old bugger that is Court McGee, 39 years old, from Utah. Of his 22 wins, 3 KOs and 7 subs. And of his 12 losses, he's been finished 3 times, and all of those have been by knockout, I might add. Oddly enough, of those 3 knockout losses, they've occurred in his last 2 fights when he's been knocked out in round number 1. Court McGee's been in the UFC since 2010. I actually think he might have won the Ultimate Fighter, maybe? Some of the more notable people he's fought, he actually holds a win over Robert Whittaker, which is crazy, back in 2013. Lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio in 2016. Lost to Sean Strickland in 2017. Lost to Sean Brady in 2019. Last win came in January of 2022 when he beat Ramiz Brahimaj by unanimous decision. But yeah, Jeremiah Wells knocked him out in 2022. Matt Brown knocked him out in May of last year in 4 minutes. So, I mean, Alex Morono isn't really a power puncher, but Court McGee is not coming in here with a lot of momentum. He's 39 years old, but he does represent Utah, so we'll give him that. His opponent, Alex the Great White Morono, 33 years old, from Houston, Texas. Of his 23 victories, 6 KOs, 7 submissions. And of his 9 losses, he's never actually been submitted. He's only been KO'd 3 times. Alex Morono is 1-2 in his last 3 fights. Last fought Joaquin Buckley in October last year. Took him to a close decision, very close decision. Before that, he had submitted Tim Means in round number 1. Alex Morono's been in the UFC since 2016. Fought in Nico Price, fought in Max Griffin, fought in Anthony Pettis. Has a win over Donald Cerrone. Alex Morono's legit. Court McGee's old. I'm going with Alex Morono. I also just think that just Court McGee has just kind of he already reached his peak. He's just fighting for money. And Alex Morono still kind of wants to compete with some of these guys. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to say round 2 knockout. We're going to say another knockout in favor of Alex Morono. So best of luck to both men, but we ride with the Great White. How about a nickname like the Great White? That's so fun, so intense. Let's get into our main card, ladies and gentlemen. As we head to the men's lightweight division, we kick it off with Trevor Peek taking on Charlie the Cannibal Campbell. Trevor Peek, 9-1 with 1 no contest. Charlie Campbell, 8-2. 6 foot to 5'9", gives Charlie 3 inches in height. He also has 2 inches in reach, 72 inches to 70. Switch stance for Trevor Peek, orthodox for Charlie Campbell. Let's kick it off with the Tennessee native Trevor Peek. Actually, I think he was born in Alabama, maybe. 29 years old from, actually, he was born in Alabama. I knew it. Of his 9 victories, 8 KOs. Pretty crazy. Came into the UFC in February of 2023 and got a round 1 knockout of Eric Gonzalez. After that, had one of the most competitive fights I've ever seen against Chepe Mariscal last June. And he last fought in October and beat Mohamed Yaha in front of his hometown crowd in Abu Dhabi. So, Trevor Peek coming in with some momentum. Guy loves to strike, even though he kind of has a weird style to it. But hey, coming in with some momentum. Only 1 loss professionally, and it was in a banger fight against Chepe Mariscal by unanimous decision. Charlie Campbell, 28 years old from New York, actually trains at Longo and Weidman MMA. Of his 8 victories, 6 KOs. He's currently on a little 2-fight win streak. Charlie Campbell was originally on Dana White's Contender Series in August of 2022 and shockingly got knocked out by Chris Duncan in that fight, in a fight where he was winning. It looked like he was going to knock out Chris Duncan. Chris threw out 1 power punch and it landed, but no worries. Charlie Campbell left, got a win in a different promotion, and debuted in September 2023 and got a win over Alex Reyes in round number 1. Knocked him out, got a $50K performance bonus. So this fight is going to be close, but I am going to ride with Trevor Peek. Dude is so fun. He was freaking praising Jesus after one of his fights, which I absolutely love. Charlie Campbell's chin, we already know, is up in the air when it comes to those things, so I already know. Give me that round 1 knockout for Trevor Peek. He's going to be headhunting, and he's going to be coming in with the fists, and one of them is going to land. Keeping us moving, we head to the men's heavyweight division as Walter the Clean Monster Walker takes on Lucas the Bull Brzezicki. Walter Walker, 11-0, undefeated. Lucas Brzezicki, 8-4, with 1 draw and 1 no contest. 6'6" to 6'4 gives Walter 2 inches in height. Both men have a 78-inch reach, and both men stand in the orthodox stance. Let's start with the bull, Lucas Brzezicki. Lucas is 31 years old from Poland. Of his 8 victories, he has 5 KOs and 2 subs. Of his 4 losses, 2 are by knockout. Lucas came in off of Dana White's Contender Series when he won in 2021, got a round 3 submission, and then came in and got lost by split decision to Martin Boudet, lost by unanimous decision to Carl Williams, and most recently, last time out in August, got knocked out in round 1 by Waldo Cortez Acosta. So Lucas is coming in on a 3-fight losing streak, which is not good at all, especially when you got knocked out your last fight, and now you have to take on Walter the Clean Monster Walker. And that's right, you may recognize that last name, Walker. Walter Walker is the younger brother of Johnny Walker, notable men's light heavyweight. Wow, finally getting this guy in the UFC. Walter Walker, 26 years young, born in Brazil, now actually trains and lives in Moscow. Yeah, of his 11 victories, 6 KOs, 1 sub. I mean, this just writes itself. I mean, it just writes itself. Give me that Walter Walker round 1 knockout. He's going to come out hungry, but it could end up being his downfall. This will be the highest level of competition Walter's ever faced in his life. But guess what? I think he gets it done, dude. You got some height on him. Your brother's Johnny Walker. I'm so excited to see this guy debut. Give me Walter, the Clean Monster Walker, over Lucas Brzezicki. Moving down in weight to the men's lightweight division as Ignacio La Jahula Bahamondes takes on Christos the Spartan Giagos. Ignacio Bahamondes, 14-5 professionally. Christos Giagos, 20-11. 6'3" to 5'10" gives Ignacio Bahamondes 5 inches in height. Am I reading that correctly? 5 inches in height. Wowza. He also has 4 inches in reach. Yikes. Wow. 75 inches at 71. Both men stand in the orthodox stance. Ignacio Bahamondes, 26 years young, from Chile, now lives and trains in Chicago. Of his 14 victories, 9 KOs and 1 sub. Now, of his 5 losses, 2 of them are actually by a submission. The others are by a decision. Came in off of Season 4 of Dynamite's Contender Series, where he got a spinning back kick knockout, which is absolutely legendary. He then lost in his debut to John McDessie, but then came back and hit the same spinning back kick and knocked Roosevelt Roberts out in a performance of the night with 5 seconds left in their fight. He would then submit Rong Zhu in February of 2022 and actually would beat Trey Ogden in April 2023. He would shockingly lose to Ludwig Klein last August, where his grappling was really shown that that's kind of where he lacks. So that is something that Ignacio will have to improve if he wants to get a victory here, but we'll see how he does against the Spartan Christos Giagos. Christos Giagos, 34 years old, from California. Of his 20 wins, 8 KOs and 4 subs. He has 2 losses by KOs and 6 losses by submission, so 8 of his 11 losses he's been finished in. Christos, been around a while, since 2014, and he is just fought some killers. He's fought in Gilbert Burns. He's fought in Charles Oliveira. He's fought in Drakkar Klose, Arman Sarukian, Thiago Moises. Just the hitters keep coming. Now he has gotten lost and gotten finished by just about all of those guys. So, Christos' last win came in April of last year. Got a round 1 knockout of Ricky Glenn in a minute and a half. But he did get submitted by Daniel Zaluber back in September. Christos, I don't really know what to make of you. I think Ignacio Bahamondes has worked on what he needs to. Christos is going to be shooting for the takedown. He will not want to strike with Ignacio Bahamondes. Ignacio was very talented. Those kicks are what you're going to want to look for. So give me Ignacio Bahamondes. And honestly, a finish is overdue. Give me that round 3 knockout for Ignacio Bahamondes. Throwing them kicks, throwing a knee or something. Give it to me, Ignacio Bahamondes. Make Chile proud, my boy. Make Chile proud. Our third from last fight of the evening, is potentially my favorite of the whole night, as Morgan the Last Pirate Cherie takes on Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal. This is going to be fight of the night. I'm calling it right now. This has got to be fight of the night. Oh my gosh, I'm jonesing. I've been jonesing for this matchup. Morgan Cherie, 19-9-1 professionally. Chepe Mariscal, 15-6-1. 5'8" to 5'7" gives Morgan 1 inch in height. Both men have a 69-inch reach, and both men stand in the orthodox position. Let's start off with the Frenchman, the last pirate, Morgan Cherie, of course, from France, 28 years old. 28 years old, and he already has 29 pro wins, fights, 19 professional wins. Of those 19 wins, 11 KOs and 3 submissions, and he's only ever been finished once out of his 9 losses. He's currently on a 4-fight win streak, and he was supposed to fight Sungwoo Choi, but Chepe Mariscal will be stepping on a short notice to give him something good to give him a good fight, we'll say. Morgan debuted last September in Paris in front of a home crowd and got a round 1 TKO from body kicks. You rarely see that. Morgan's fun, Morgan's feisty, and he could be a threat in this lightweight division. But it's no easy going here in the UFC as he takes on Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal, 31 years old, from Colorado, has a background in judo and actually trains at Elevation Fight Team with Curtis Blades, Corey Sandhagen, The Killers, Neil Magny. He's currently on a 5-fight win streak too. Currently on a little 5-fight win streak, and that's not too bad. But 14 of his 15 wins are by finish. The only man he couldn't finish was actually Trevor Peek, funny enough. Man, oh man, Chepe, fight of the night against Trevor Peek, was able to beat Jack Jenkins. Jack Jenkins did get injured in that fight last September, but Chepe was looking better anyways. This is going to be a heater of a fight. This is going to be back and forth all the way. I am going to lean Morgan Cherie. I did like what I saw more from him in France. I'm going to say decision. I'm going to predict fight of the night. This is going to be a banger fight. It's going to be a banger fight. Both guys are hungry. Both guys are willing to bring it. And when they come in with an insane combined. Actually, I didn't even get Chepe Mariscal's stats down for his finishes. I just noticed that. Or actually, didn't I say that? Didn't I say he has? Oh, yeah, he has. They both have 14 finishes. They have 28 combined finishes. Wow. Utterly ridiculous. I'm here for it, but I'm going with Morgan Cherie. Maybe by a split decision fight of the night. It's going to be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our co-main event up next in the men's featherweight division as Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez takes on Damon the Leech Jackson. Alexander Hernandez 14-7 professionally. Damon Jackson 22-6 with 1 draw and 1 no contest. 5'11" to 5'9" gives Damon 2 inches in height. Alexander has 1 inch in reach, 72 to 71. Orthodox stance for Alexander. Switch stance for Damon Jackson. Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez, been in the UFC since 2018. 31-year-old is from San Antonio, and of his 14 wins, has 6 KOs and 2 submissions. 4 of his 7 losses are by finish, though. He has been finished in 4 of his 7 losses. Alexander Hernandez came in with so much hype behind him. Knocked out Beneil Dariush in his debut, then beat Oliver Aubin Mercier in 2018, but then got humbled by Don Cerrone in the co-main event of Cejudo versus Dillashaw back in January 2019. After that, he has gone win-loss, just ever since. Last win came in February of 2023, beat Jim Miller, but did lose brutally to Bill Algeo when he dropped down to featherweight in October of last year. So I'm very torn about this. Alexander Hernandez has some ugly losses. The wins have come far and few. I mean, since 2020, he only has 3 wins, 4 losses. This could be the changing of the guard, but Damon Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, just got a hair transplant. He looks handsome. He looks like a whole new man. And Damon Jackson, 35-year-old from Dallas, trains at Fortis MMA, huge gym out there. 4 KOs and 15 subs of his 22 wins. My goodness. Now, a notable thing here is, of his 6 losses, he's been KO'd 4 times. In the UFC, he's been KO'd twice. All right, finished 3 times. Damon Jackson debuted in 2014. His KO losses, though, and his last 3 losses: Ito Pereira, your featherweight champion; Dan Ige, top 10 featherweight; Billy Quarantillo. An absolute, as game as they come, Billy Quarantillo is a tough competitor. But Damon Jackson, man, wins over Pat Sabatini, Charles Rosa, Dan Argueta. I like what I see from Damon Jackson. I think we see a little submission action here with his new little haircut. Give me Damon Jackson by, we'll say he gets a round 2 submission. We're going to say a little round 2 submission for Damon Jackson. It's the hair. I'm actually picking him because he got a hair transplant and he looks good. I'm giving him his props. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our main event of the evening. It was supposed to be number 5 ranked Marvin Vettori versus number 6 ranked Brendan Allen, but Marvin Vettori pulled out. The pull-out king. He has no children, so props to him. Props to him for having no children, but I won't lie. I'm sad he doesn't fight. I'm actually joking about the children thing. I'm just saying he pulls out fights a lot. Instead, on short notice, steps in number 14th ranked Chris Action Man Curtis, and this makes it even better as the last man to beat Brendan Allen was Chris Curtis. So this is a pretty big fight. I'm excited for this one, and this is a good Apex main event. We've had some pretty brutal Apex main events. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, tune in for this main event. This will be good. Brendan Allen, 23-5 professionally. Chris Action Man Curtis, 31-10 with 1 no contest. 6'2" to 5'10", does give Brendan a notable 4 inches in height, but both men do stay in the orthodox stance and each have a 75-inch reach. Let's start off with the number 6 ranked men's middleweight, Brendan Allen. He currently rides a 6-fight win streak, including 5 submission wins, all by rear naked chokehold. I think he holds the most rear naked chokeholds in UFC history. He has to. 28-year-old, born and raised in Louisiana, 5 KOs and 14 submissions. That means 19 of his 23 wins he's finished. He was supposed to fight Vettori, as I mentioned, but this dude came in the UFC off of Dana White's Contender Series, where he got a rear naked chokehold. In his debut, fights Kevin Holland, rear naked chokeholds him, then TKOs Tom Breeze, beats Kyle Dawkins by unanimous decision, then has to fight Sean Strickland, gets TKO'd in round number 2. Okay, it's tough, but Sean Strickland, former champion, okay? Where's Sean at right now? Is he the number one contender at men's middleweight? After that, ankle locks Carl Roberson in round 1. Dominates Punahele Soriano on the feet. Then, December 2021, his last loss, Chris Curtis knocks him out in round number 2. Shocking. Since then, submits Sam Alvey, survives Jacob Malkoun's grappling, submits Christoph Jocko, submits Andre Muniz, submits Bruno Silva, submits Paul Craig, the king of submissions, last November. Oh my goodness. By the way, 4 straight rear naked chokeholds, and they've come in round 1, round 3, round 1, round 3. There's a pattern. I see the pattern, and guess what? I think I might go with a round 1 submission for Brendan Allen, but wait a second. it's no easy going as the action man Chris Curtis steps in on short notice. 36 years old from Nevada, trains at Extreme Couture. That's right, him and Sean Strickland, best of buds. Of his 31 victories, 15 KOs, 3 submissions. He's only ever been finished twice in his 10 losses. Pretty fun fact. Chris Curtis last fought in January, so he's not too long ago. He won a split decision over Marc-Andre Barriault, though. Wasn't the prettiest. Before that, he had lost. He was losing Nazarevov for a head clash, led to a no contest. And before that, in April last year, lost a fight of the night to Kelvin Gastelum, in which he got outstruck. So honestly, Chris Curtis' last impressive win came in December of 2022 when he knocked out Joaquin Buckley. But Chris Curtis, been in the UFC since 2021. I mean, Dude is entertaining. I'll say that. So he's 4-2 with 1 no contest in the UFC. And by the way, in December, stepped down short notice, beat Brendan Allen last time. Will history repeat itself, or will we see Brendan Allen get some revenge? And guess what? Brendan Allen is gonna shock you all. And Brendan Allen, we're highlighting his name. We're getting out our pencil. What's our prediction? Brendan Allen, round 1 submission. I'm just going for so many finishes on this card. I want it to be fun. I want it to be entertaining. I'm here for it. This is going to be a banger of a matchup. I'm so excited. I'm I'm jonesing for this one. And yeah, this is going to be a good time. Good time indeed. But Brendan Allen, I mean, that height is going to play some advantage. And Brendan Allen's just been fighting tougher competition. I understand Chris Curtis. That wasn't even about fight. He was dominated. Kelvin Gastelum beat him. I mean, that should say something. Marc-Andre Barriault, not that high skill. And Brendan Allen, looking at how Bruno Silva and Chris Weidman went, Bruno Silva got dominated by Brendan Allen. He submitted Andre Muniz, who is supposed to be the greatest submission guy. Paul Craig is actually one of the most legit jiu-jitsu guys in the world, and Brendan Allen made him look silly. So we're riding with Brendan Allen. I know some people hate him because he's cocky, but I love the persona. He's also wearing purple trunks. Are you kidding me? The first ever fighter in UFC history to wear purple trunks. Don't know if that's correct, but no one else wears purple shorts nowadays. Brendan Allen, I hope you deliver like you say you will. And if he wins, he'll move up to like number 4 or 5 in the rankings, and I think a rematch with Sean Strickland could be in the cards. But think about this. If Chris Curtis wins, he'll go from number 14 fighting unranked Marc-Andre Barriault to number 6 in the world, potentially fighting Marvin Vettori, Paulo Costa, rematch with Nazarevov. Whoever wins this one is in for a big career jump. So tune in for that, ladies and gentlemen, because I know I will be. And with that brings to the end another episode of the Surprise Jab Podcast. I love doing this. I love chatting, and honestly, it is late at night. It's 10:50. I push this off too much, dilly-dallying with other things, but so it's a fun one. We talked about Invincible. We talked about Get Out. Checked in with the NBA and NHL before their seasons come to an end. We gave our predictions for WrestleMania 40. Talked about new UFC fights, and gave our official predictions for UFC Vegas 90 going down this Saturday. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you next time I see you. It is going to be post-WrestleMania week, the end of the NBA, but the biggest thing, the whole reason I'm just so jonesed and I'm literally shaking, my body is vibrating right now, UFC 300, the biggest event in UFC history, goes down next week. The Surprise Jab Podcast, obviously it hasn't been growing that much lately, but like I said, I do this for my own personal enjoyment. If there's any fans along the way, I will take you. And honestly, if you are a fan, reach out, say something. I am more than happy to have you on the podcast to talk about things. I'm a very kind soul. I know I don't market the podcast too well, but nonetheless, I have a good time. With that, everyone, have an amazing weekend. Have an amazing year. Have an amazing April. And I will catch you next time on, of course, what other than the Surprise Jab Podcast.